Seriously, Rafe, this is insane, even for you.
You want to hear insane? Nathan Drake raced a madman and his entire army to the steppes of Shambhala.
Jesus!
Nathan Drake found the lost city in the middle of the Rub al-Khali desert.
God damn it. Come on, we can get out of here together.
Nathan Drake discovered the fabled El Dorado. This might hurt a little. Get off! Come on, legend.
Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be getting the final platinum in the mainline Uncharted games, which is of course Uncharted 4, A Thief's End. Before we start, just would like to say thanks again for all the support, it's very much appreciated. We're almost at 1,000 subscribers, so it'd be awesome if you'd hit that like and subscribe button. Anyway, back to the game. So I'm actually getting the platinum for the Uncharted Legacy of Thieves collection, made for the PS5, which includes both Uncharted 4, A Thief's End, and Uncharted The Lost Legacy, both remastered for PS5. Some of you may be disappointed by this, as unfortunately, Sony and Naughty Dog decided to make this game only have one platinum instead of two. And also, there are no multiplayer trophies, so I'm technically not doing the 100% for Uncharted 4. However, I personally decided to play this version as I wanted to play the best version of these games, just like I did with the PS4 versions of the original trilogy, and they didn't have multiplayer either. As, after all, I did buy a PS5 for a reason, so I want to play games that are designed for it. Also, I don't have to worry about the multiplayer trophies. Most trophies are pretty much the same as well, so it doesn't really matter. And really, I'm the one losing out, because I only get one platinum instead of two.
Okay.
But I don't really mind, so don't you worry about it either.
Whoa, calm down, Jamal. Don't pull out the 9.
I'll make a separate video for Lost Legacy, as they actually turn it into a DLC trophy pack, but you still do need to actually get all the trophies in that game to get the platinum overall too. Anyway, for this video we are going to just focus on Uncharted 4. Let me just start off by saying this game is amazing. Finally playing an Uncharted game that has some insane graphics was very refreshing. Also, gameplay is so much better as they improve climbing with a rope grapple and reaching out with your hand to climb instead of just spamming the X button all the time. Combat feels better as the crosshair gives you feedback on where you hit enemies, and stealth is much improved too, being able to take out whole areas stealthily if you want, or you can just passively sneak by the enemies. Exploration is very fun in this game, set pieces are awesome as always, and the story is probably the best in the series. By far actually. It is set several years after Uncharted 3, following Nathan Drake of course, a former treasure hunter now, as he is coaxed out of retirement by his presumed dead brother, Samuel. With Nathan's longtime partner, Victor Sullivan, they search for clues to the location of Henry Avery's long-lost treasure. Now, in terms of trophies, there are technically 101 in the Legacy of Thieves collection, but only 52 of those are in the base game or Uncharted 4. The other 49 we will worry about in the Lost Legacy video. Like always, with the trophies, they consist of combat, difficulty, speedrun, and lots of miscellaneous trophies. Gone are the trophies where you have to get a certain amount of kills with each gun, like in the original trilogy, and instead there are actually some more fun miscellaneous trophies that vary it up quite a bit. PSN Profiles puts it at a 5 out of 10 difficulty, takes 3 playthroughs, and takes about 35 hours to complete. So without further ado, let's get trophy hunting. So, step 1 in our platinum journey is we are going to enjoy the story and get all the collectibles in the game at the same time. Unlike in the original 3 Uncharted games, this game actually includes more treasures with 109 instead of just 101 or 61. And they also added in 25 journal entries, 23 journal notes, and 36 optional conversations. That means there is a total of 193 collectibles. So let's get cracking. Alright, so to start off with, we start this game just like Uncharted 2. We start in medias res, which I think is Latin for like when you start halfway through the story in like an action scene. And that's at the start, and then eventually you'll catch up to it. But yeah, we start off with Sam and Nathan driving towards a stormy island and getting capsized. Which leads us to a flashback to Chapter 1, The Lure of Adventure. So this is when Nathan is at the orphanage and he goes to meet with his brother Sam, giving us some backstory on their relationship. After that we flash forward in time, but we're still technically in the past before Uncharted 1. We're in Chapter 2, Infernal Place, which is where we are in prison, where we find Nathan and his brother Sam, along with new character Rafe, trying to figure out where Henry Avery's treasure is. And things do not go well with Sam being shot and presumed dead, even though we literally just saw him in the boat scene, so we know he's actually not dead. Whilst in Chapter 2, we actually get our first trophy, which is First Treasure, Find a Treasure. So this is one of many treasures to come. But after completing Chapter 2, we are treated to some awesome credits, which actually has lots of references to the previous 3 games, which was actually really cool to see. I'll let it play so you guys can see, but also, ooh, the soundtrack is so good. After that neat little cutscene, we are shown 15 years later, where we are introduced to Chapter 3, The Malaysia Job, where we find Nathan Drake is now currently living a normal life as a salvage hunter. After that, we move on to Chapter 4, A Normal Life, where we get to explore Nathan's house that he lives in with his now wife Elena, get to see his normal life, what it looks like, but he's still obviously wants that lure of adventure. Exploring Nathan's attic was actually really cool. Got to see a bunch of little Easter eggs referencing the old games. As you can see, Uncharted 2, the statue that you had to climb on, and then he's got the jacket from when he was in the Himalayas. There's so many neat little references here. Also, I kind of got carried away messing around with this chair's physics here. And whilst messing around up in the attic, we decided to get the second trophy. Still got it. Hit all targets in the attic with a toy gun. So this one's fairly simple. There's just 4 targets when you get to shoot the little toy Nerf gun that Nathan has, and as you can see, Lazarevich's face is on one of the targets. Again, I got caught lacking and was messing around, and this is pretty cool actually. Nathan does the little finger guns.
That's right, ladies and gentlemen. Bam! The finger gun.
Now this part is actually pretty cool. We get to hop on the old PlayStation 1 and play the OG Crash Bandicoot, which of course was made by Naughty Dog, that's why it's in the game. And yeah, we get to play the original Crash Bandicoot whilst playing Uncharted, a game inside a game. So the controls for it are actually pretty basic.
So you want to run
You just
towards
use
the camera.
X to jump, and then circle or square to spin, and then you actually have to use the D-pad to control Crash. Unfortunately, you can't use the analog stick, which makes sense because that wasn't a thing back on PlayStation 1, but it makes it a bit finicky. But yeah, it's a pretty cool part inside the game. There is actually, spoiler alert, a trophy related to this. Also, if you want to see me go for the platinum on the Crash Bandicoot games, let me know down in the comments below. Now, I thought I was doing pretty well on my first run, but I ended up failing on the last jump.
Oh, what happened?
And then I proceeded to fail in the exact same spot again, in the exact same way.
Oh.
Your try, Scud.
So, I actually ran out of lives. I'm a bit of a bot, so imagine me playing the actual Crash game. But yeah, as you can see, I got a lower score, and you actually have to get a higher score to get the trophy. However, we do get a second chance later in the game. And I've heard that apparently getting the trophy on that first one is actually impossible because you can't actually get enough score. Anyway, moving on from that, we find that Sam has come back, and Nathan tells him some pretty cool stories.
Crazy stories.
Got shot, hanging from a derailed train in the Himalayas.
Yeah, that actually happened. Come on. Do you remember the theory that we had that Sir Francis Drake faked his own death?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, he did. I found the coffin.
Off the coast of Panama?
Yeah. All right, now get this. Okay, I open it up, right? And there's no body. But at the bottom is his old journal. Are you shitting me? I mean, what can I say? Another lost city destroyed, and we made it out alive. Barely.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, it was. I wish you could have been there.
Archaeological gold mine, and somehow you managed to walk away with nothing.
Yeah, well, it's a story of my life, I guess.
Anyway, after that cool dialogue and great backstory, we now see what happened to Sam and how he actually got out of jail, which brings us to Chapter 5, Hector Alcazar, where for the first time in the series we actually get to play as someone else other than Nathan. Unless you count that one jet ski mission in Uncharted 1 where technically you're shooting as Elena, but So after finding out that we need to help Sam so he doesn't get killed by Hector Alcazar, we are now on to trying to find the treasure, which takes us to the next chapter where we go to an auction house to try and get the next clue, which is the Cross of St. Dismas. And as you can see, Chapter 6, Once a Thief. This chapter is pretty cool. Here's a cool little optional conversation that references Elena's camera breaking and Nathan doing his little drawings in his journal.
I wish. Elena filmed some of it, but the camera didn't make it.
That's too bad.
I have some drawings, though. When we get back, I can show you.
And of course, during this chapter, we get reunited with the one and only Victor Sullivan.
Sully?
Know what I love about partying with a bunch of crooks?
What's that?
Nobody cares if you smoke indoors.
It's been a while.
Too long, boyo.
Here's a cool little reference to the first Uncharted 3 games. As we're trying to pickpocket this security guard, when you finally do manage to pickpocket him, it has the old animation and sound for when you picked up a treasure in those older games.
And he doubted me.
After successfully stealing the cross and annoying Rafe, as you can see, we're now moving on to the next chapter where we have to escape from the auction house without getting caught, which of course does not go the right way. Chapter 7, Lights Out. In this chapter we managed to get our third trophy, Head of the Class, defeat 20 enemies with headshots. So just like the previous Uncharted games, you'll get this one pretty easy whilst you're playing the game because you'll be aiming for the head majority of the time. We also managed to get our fourth trophy, Stealth First, Ask Questions Later, which is stealth take down 5 enemies. Again, you'll do this one just playing through the story, especially in this beginning bit where it's very helpful to go stealth through these areas. So now we move on to Chapter 8, the Grave of Henry Avery, where we are now in Scotland with Sam, trying to find the next clue to the whereabouts of the treasure. Also, another thing they fixed with the combat in this game is the jumping takedowns. Unlike in Uncharted 3 where they look a bit goofy and you do it with square, you can just jump and tackle someone.
Hey, look at Randy Orton slithering. Watch out, watch out, watch out, watch out! Here's the cover!
While we're here, we may as well get the next trophy, which is you have a head for this business. Defeat 50 enemies with headshots. So again, just like the previous headshot one, eventually you'll get this just by playing through the game because you'll be racking up those headshots. Right after, we also get our 6th trophy, jot this down, find a journal entry. So finally, 8 chapters in, we actually get our first journal entry, which is again a new collectible in this game, and you just look at something and Nathan writes something in his journal. We also get trophy number 7, which is take a note, find a journal note. So again, another new collectible. This time, you pick up a note off the ground and he puts it into his journal. So similar to a journal entry, but you're actually picking up a note. After that, we then move on to Chapter 9, Those Who Prove Worthy, as we find a hidden area underneath the tombs, which is a trial to find out where the next step in our journey to find the treasure is. Whilst in this chapter, we actually find our first strange relic in this game, which there's 3 of them, and there's a trophy if you find all 3, and each one is related to a different Naughty Dog game. So this first one, strange relic, is actually a firefly, or strange pendant, which is actually a firefly pendant from The Last of Us, and it says Druckley on the back, which is a reference to Neil Druckmann and Bruce Straley, who made this game, who also made The Last of Us as well. Also, who knows, maybe I might be doing Last of Us soon. Anyway, moving on, after finding out that our next clue is in Madagascar, we travel there, and we are now in Chapter 10, the 12 Towers, as we search around
What are we looking for out
the Madagascar landscape.
around the volcano.
Also, did I mention just how stunning this game looks?
Feast your eyes, gentlemen. Wow.
Spectacular.
Whilst in this chapter, we get our 8th trophy, Sleep Now, stealth takedown 30 enemies. So again, another stealth takedown enemy trophy. You'll get this because the stealth in this game is actually pretty good, so you'll be doing it quite a lot. Here's a nice little throwback.
Well, well, well. Get it? You know, because it's a well. Sully, you stole your joke.
I noticed. Good sense of humor, though. Well, well, well.
It's cute.
What?
Because it's a well.
Shall we?
Sam follows it up with another funny joke, but it's kind of stupid, not gonna lie.
Byron walks into him,
Okay, here we go.
and he's got the steering wheel sticking out of his crotch.
All right.
So the bartender goes, "Hey, man, what's with the wheel?" And the pirate says back, "Arr, it's driving me nuts." I love that one.
Oh, brother, this guy stinks!
After finding out that the correct tower we need to go to is in the city, we enter Chapter 11, Hidden in Plain Sight. This treasure is actually pretty cool because this is the first time that Nathan actually pays to get a treasure instead of just stealing it like a thief.
Take it. 300.
Nick, really?
Done. You see that? That's how you haggle.
You say so.
Straight after that, we get our 9th trophy, Don't Feed the Animals. Play with the lemur in the market and let it steal your apple. So this one you need to get an apple of some ladies and then pet a lemur and it will come and steal it off you. Pretty cool little miscellaneous trophy. After that, Sully offers or asks us to buy a shirt for him, which is exactly what he's wearing right now. And right after that, we get our 10th trophy, Treasure Hunter. Find 50 treasures. So we are just under halfway of finding all the treasures.
One thing at a time.
Again, just appreciating how gorgeous this game is.
This is a nice view.
And to appreciate the view even more, we get Trophy 11, I Can See My House From Here. Climb to the very top of the clock tower in the city. And yep, self-explanatory, just gotta climb to the very top and get this amazing view of this King's Bay in Madagascar.
Holy shit.
After an absolutely insane set piece with the clock tower crumbling down and almost dying, we move on to our next trophy, number 12, which is Glamour Shot,
Say cheese.
Mate, come
which is
on.
take a photo of Sully. So while you're taking a photo of these pirate symbols, just aim at Sully and say cheese. After that, we have to make a daring escape from the city, and this has got to be by far one of the best set pieces in all of the Uncharted games. This whole section is just so cool. It was so fun to play. Definitely one of the highlights of the Uncharted series for me so far. And then Nathan somehow survives a crash with the car on fire, and as the enemies say, how the hell could you survive this?
No blimmin' way you could have survived that.
Why chance it?
It's not good. Holy shit, he's still alive!
After that victorious escape and finding out exactly where we need to go next, we are introduced to Chapter 12 at sea. However, Nathan is a little down after Elena has found out that he has been lying to her and he is not doing the Malaysia job but is instead looking for treasure again.
Nathan?
Another appreciation for this game's graphics, but even underwater this game looks amazing. Whilst going for a swim, we may as well get our next trophy, Marco Polo Returns, play in the ocean near the sunken ship. So of course this is a reference to Uncharted 2 and 3, ever since they started in the adding the Marco Polo jokes. Also in this chapter we find our next strange relic, which is the actual strange relic, which of course has appeared in Uncharted 1, 2 and 3 and is a reference to Jak and Daxter, another Naughty Dog game. So then after that last chapter, now we know where to go next, the island, which we saw in the beginning of the game, which opens up to chapter 13, Marooned, which is picks up right after the boat crash in that very first chapter.
With a massive guard.
Doesn't matter though, because we're only marooned for one chapter, because we catch back up with Sam, which introduces us to chapter 14.
This is... I mean...
Join me in paradise, where we actually discover the lost city and don't destroy it straight away, and we actually get to explore it. Oh my god.
Oh my god! Wow!
After making our way through some enemies, we now find ourselves in the treasury where the treasure used to be, in chapter 15, the Thieves of Libertalia. Once again, I know this is getting a bit ridiculous, but wow, just look at how this game just looks so awesome. It's so nice to see an Uncharted game look like this compared to the original 3. Sorry, but once again we get another awesome shot right at the very top of this tower, looking at that cool mountain and the whole scenery. It's just, this game is stunning. For a game made in 2016, it is actually crazy how good it still looks today. After having a confrontation with Rafe and Nadine, and we find out that Sam has been lying to us the whole time, and it wasn't Hector Alcazar that broke him out, but it was Rafe who actually paid for him to get out instead, and Nathan is thrown off a cliff. We flash back to chapter 16, the Brothers Drake, where we find out what actually happened when they went to look for their mother's belonging, and kind of gives the backstory of how they became Drakes. Because as you can see, this is where a legend was born.
We were meant for this. And I promise, you and me together, we're gonna go far. So what do you say? Nathan Drake?
That's what I've been waiting for. That's what it's all about. Woo!
Anyway, after that we flash back to the present where Elena has actually saved Nathan, and we are now into chapter 17, For Better or Worse, where Nathan has to somehow fix his relationship with Elena. A really cool part of this chapter is this area where Nathan and Elena are just driving through the scenery, and boy does this game look amazing, and it's just so relaxing doing this. I'll let you enjoy it. Anyway, after that quick break of the action, we are back into action as the bridge broke underneath us, but we survived, and now onto chapter 18, New Devon. Whilst in this chapter, we get trophy 14, Rushing Roulette, where we have to defeat enemies with a pistol, machine gun, and grenade in that order in a total of 15 seconds. So this one I actually did by complete random. This is normally one where you have to go back and do it, but I somehow did it randomly, which was good. Right after that, I got my next trophy, Lost Art of Journaling. Find all journal entries. So that's one collectible down, finding all the journal entries.
There.
Just got notes, conversations, and treasures to go. After realizing again that we haven't found exactly where the treasure is, we move to chapter 19, Avery's Descent, where we have to follow where they took the treasure. So we make our way through all the booby traps in that area, which leads us to chapter 20, No Escape, where we find a ship graveyard where they were trying to escape with the treasure. And again, this game is stunning.
Holy crap. It's a ship graveyard.
And after making our way through enemies, meeting back up with Sam and Sully, we are trying to escape from the island, but Sam gets separated and still wants to go after the treasure, leading us to chapter 21, Brother's Keeper, where as Nathan we are chasing after Sam to try and save him. And in this chapter we get our next trophy, Lost History, find all journal notes. So that's another collectible down. We found all the notes, now we just have conversations and treasures left. And right after that we get our next trophy, Relic Finder, find the strange relics. So this is actually our last relic to find, and it is of course a strange fruit, which is from Crash Bandicoot of course, which is what we played earlier in the game, which is pretty cool. After finally finding Avery's ship and overhearing Rafe and Nadine arguing about it and then going over to check it out, we know Sam's there as well. We have to chase after them, which leads us into the final chapter of the game, chapter 22, A Thief's End, just like the title of the game. This is the final chapter. But before we go onto the ship, we have to get our next trophy, Treasure Master, which is for finding all treasures. So all 109 treasures have officially been found. Now we just got optional conversations to go. And as you saw from the beginning to this video, this is the final boss fight of the game against Rafe inside of the burning ship with all the treasure around, with Avery and Thomas Two's bodies lying there because they did the exact same thing hundreds of years ago, and now we're back here with a sword fight against Rafe. This boss fight, probably my favorite out of the four. It's not the greatest boss fight ever compared to other games, but in the Uncharted series, boss fights aren't really amazing, but this is probably the best one I would say. And then I'd have probably Lazarevich at second, Talbot at 3, and then Atak Navarro in Uncharted 1, he would probably be the worst boss fight of the series, but Rafe is definitely the most cinematic and probably the best in my opinion. But after defeating Rafe and escaping with Sam from the burning ship, we make it to the end of the game where everyone lives happily ever after.
Alright, because I'm coming for you.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, my. That's... Okay. Fine. You're on.
We then flash forward in time where, again, we're back playing Crash Bandicoot, where this is our second chance at getting the trophy. As you can see, best score, beat the best score in the retro video game. So this is the second time you're able to do this. I don't think you can actually get it the first time because you don't have enough lives, whereas this second time, if you do it perfectly, you can get it. After playing Crash Bandicoot, we find out that there is a girl playing the game, which turns out to be Nathan and Elena's daughter, Cassie Drake, which introduces us to the epilogue of this game, where you pretty much get to see the life that Nathan and Elena are living, and it's pretty wholesome, and yeah, it's a very good send-off to the Uncharted games and Nathan Drake's character as a whole, I believe. In the epilogue, we get our next trophy, Gift of Gab. Listen to all optional conversations in the game, where we speak to Vicky, Nathan's dog, which is referenced earlier in the game when he said that he would name his first dog after Victor Sullivan. And of course, he's the final one we talk to.
Creepy.
Just like in Chapter 4, we get to explore through all of Nathan's past adventures, and it's just really cool being able to see all the things he has collected over the years, referencing back to the old games and Uncharted 4 as well.
But from where? Kinda looks like Avery's sigil. Wait, is it Avery's sigil? Is that a bullet hole? I don't know, some kind of resin or something? Weird. 16th century. Where's this from? No way. Is that Dad? Huh. What's this? What the hell?
And for the record, I totally delivered.
Yeah, you delivered us into the hands of Indonesian pirates.
No, come on, you know I had nothing to do with that.
Okay, guys, time out. You're saying that you were attacked by pirates after you found the coffin of Sir Francis Drake. Is that right?
Yeah,
pretty
that's
much
right.
it. Yeah.
Bullshit.
Language.
Crap.
Better.
So many cool throwbacks, and it's just the dialogue in this game is just fantastic. Playing the first 3 games really does playing this game so much better. All the little Easter eggs you can pick up on. This game was such a great send-off for Nathan Drake as a character, and honestly probably my favourite game in the series. And that means after completing the game we get Charted Moderate, complete the game in moderate mode. So I decided to play the game on normal difficulty to start with, just so I could enjoy the story first, whilst getting all the collectibles. So we get that trophy first, and of course it stacks with Charted Light as well. And of course, Charted Explorer as well. So there you have it. After beating the game and collecting all the collectibles, we're now going to move on to step 2, where we're going to clean up all the other miscellaneous trophies via chapter and encounter select. So first off, we're going to start back in the best set piece of the game, but before we can start getting trophies, this happens.
Let's go.
After those shenanigans, we move on to the next trophy, Hang Tough. Destroy 10 vehicles while being dragged from the rope. So this one's fairly simple. You just got to be hanging onto the rope and just destroy the vehicles, which you can do by shooting the driver or blowing up the vehicle as well. Straight after, we get the next trophy, Hangman's Bullet. Perform 20 headshots from the rope. So this one, I use the slow bullet time mode to do this one, which, because I found all the collectibles, I was able to purchase as a gameplay modifier and put it on, which made it a lot easier. Trophy 25, I thought I heard something. Perform 30 vertical stealth takedowns. So unfortunately, this one, you don't really get the opportunity to do much in the game. Like, you can do it if you go out of your way, but I just ended up restarting this checkpoint over and over again to get it. On to Trophy 26, Run and Gunner. Defeat 50 enemies from the hip or blind firing. So this one, just put it on easy mode and just went ham, running and gunning with auto aim on, actually auto lock on, made it a lot easier. Trophy 27, Leapfrog. Defeat 10 enemies in a row, alternating gunplay and hand-to-hand combat. So this one, just put on easy mode, and yeah, just put on lock on aim, kill an enemy with gun first, then run up to the next one and defeat him with melee. Fairly simple. Next up, Ghost in the Cemetery. Get through Scotland's cemetery combat encounter without killing or being seen. So this one's actually quite hard, but I just watched a video to find the best path, which makes it a lot easier, and if you follow that set path, you can do it pretty easy. Trophy 29, Butterfingers. Make 10 enemies drop their grenades. This one's actually kind of hard, unlike in previous Uncharted games where it was pretty easy to make enemies drop their grenades. This game, they don't nearly throw them as much, and they throw them so quick so you don't have time to shoot, so I had to put it on slow-mo to do it. Straight after, Trophy 30, defeat 10 in 60. So you need to defeat 10 enemies in 60 seconds with the China Lake grenade launcher. So this one's pretty self-explanatory. You just gotta kill 10 enemies in a row in 60 seconds with the grenade launcher. And just like the previous one, Boom County, defeat 4 enemies with the same explosion. So this one, I used the grenade launcher on this truck here, and I was able to get all 4 enemies in the same spot to get this trophy. Moving on to our next trophy, Not a cairn in the world. Knock over all rock cairns in Madagascar. So this one's kind of like another collectible. I believe there's 16 of them, and you can keep track of them in the stats menu. And you just got to find them all in this one chapter. Next trophy up, run the table. Defeat enemies with a stealth attack, melee attack, headshot, and explosives in that order in 15 seconds. So this one I had to go back and do, and it's pretty self-explanatory. Just kill enemies in that order, and you can use gameplay modifiers to make it easier. Next up, hitting a brick wall. Defeat 5 armored enemies with melee only. So the best spot to do this is in this chapter, where you swing on and do a jump tackle, because that's the easiest way to take out the armored enemies. Someone please explain this. No, but like seriously, why does this keep happening? Anyway, our next trophy is Wingman. Perform 10 combo buddy takedowns. So I just did this one in this early chapter where it's just a melee fight in the prison, and you pretty much just got to get lucky and try and do a takedown with either Sam or Rafe at the same time. Next up, Cliffhanger. Pull 20 enemies over when hanging from a ledge. So this is similar to the one where you had to drop down on an enemy. But this time you're throwing them over the ledge. I had to restart this same checkpoint over and over to get this one, unfortunately, as I didn't get it throughout the game. Next up, Trials and Tribulations. Solve the first trial in Scotland in 10 moves or less. This one I just used a guide for, and I think you can get it in about 8 moves, and as long as you just follow the steps you can do it pretty easily. Next up is Stage Fright. Just prior to the chase, stand perfectly still for 30 seconds or the stage demo failed. This is in relation to when they announced this game at E3, I believe, and they couldn't get Nathan to move, so it's just a nice little throwback to that. So yeah, you just got to stand completely still. Trophy 39 is Just Floor It. Drive away in the Jeep with Elena without killing any enemies. So when you have to go get the Jeep back, you just have to not kill any enemies, pretty much. Just run to the Jeep and just drive off as soon as you can. Next up, Trophy 40, On Porpoise. Get 3 dolphins to follow the boat. So in this chapter 12, when you're at sea exploring, you just gotta go around to the back of the island and just get some dolphins trailing your boat. Next up, 41 is Swordmaster. Perfectly parry Rafe in the sword fight without getting slashed or stabbed. So this one I just chucked it on easy difficulty, and you just had to make sure you dodged all of his attacks, and you could restart checkpoint if you did fail. So not too bad. Okay, after that we are now going to move on to step 3, where we're going to speed run the game in under 6 hours whilst getting at least a 70% accuracy. So this one, just chuck it on the easiest difficulty, Explorer, have lock on aim, and just go ham. But before we get to that, we also get Ludonarrative Dissonance. Defeat 1,000 enemies. This one I was just waiting to get normally whilst playing through the game, and I think it's a reference to the fact that you always kill so many people in an Uncharted game, and you know, it's made fun of. But straight after following that is Unstoppable. Defeat 100 enemies in a row without dying in combat. So because I had on the easiest difficulty, I was able to do this fairly easy in the speedrun. This quote from here from Sam actually reminded me of the old speedruns we used to do on the 3 original games, where we had to do it as Donut Drake, and unfortunately Donut Drake isn't in this game, but Sam does like to make fun of Nathan Drake's weight quite a bit.
Way up. That'll support even your weight. Ah, thank you.
And again, for some reason throughout this entire chapter, Sam just really likes to make fun of Nathan's weight for some reason.
It's a good thing you're not heavier than the crate. Okay.
And again, for the 3rd time in this same chapter, Sam is still making fun of Nathan's weight. Oh, I really wish Donut Drake was in this game. Bring back the Donut Drake.
You sure that'll work? It's heavier than I am. I don't know about that. Yeah.
Similar to those earlier deaths I showed, can someone please explain how I died here?
Got him!
Also, whilst doing the speedrun, I accidentally all the guns, use every gun, so I don't know how I didn't get this on my first playthrough. I was trying to use every gun, but for some reason blowing up that barrel made me get it, so it's not just the guns, you also have to explode the barrels, so yeah, just be wary of that. And again, we're back at our favourite spot, the climbing wall of death, where apparently you just die from nothing. Why not a second time too?
Another one.
What's wrong with you, bro? What the heck? You tripping, bro? You tripping?
Oh my god, he on X Games mode.
And with all that out of the way, here are my stats for the speedrun. I was able to beat it in 5 hours and 12 minutes, so still plenty of time to spare, so the speedrun in this game is fairly simple. And also I was able to end up with 80% accuracy in the end, which is definitely easy due to the lock-on aim mode, makes it very easy, and on the easiest difficulty too. And with that, we get Sharpshooter. Complete the game with a 70% or higher shot accuracy. So like I said, I got 80%. Play it on the easy difficulty with lock-on aim mode, you'll get this fairly simple. And speed it and can pair it with the speedrun. Speaking of the speedrun, Charted speedrun. Complete the game in 6 hours or less. Again, easiest difficulty, you should have no problems doing this. Now with majority of the miscellaneous trophies and the speedrun trophy out of the way, we're going to move on to step 4, which is beating the game on the hardest difficulty, aka crushing. Alright, so overall crushing wasn't too bad, like compared to the original trilogy and brutal on those games, I wouldn't say it is as bad as that, as you know, the gameplay is a bit more modern, so it doesn't feel as clunky and you don't die straight away. The enemies don't just laser you now, but you still have to be behind cover and make sure you're not getting shot at, or else you do still die pretty quickly. They make it harder in this game by actually making the enemy variety different. In the harder difficulties, instead of just enemies killing you quicker, there's actually more heavily armored enemies that spawn in compared to easier difficulties. Like there's a few encounters where when I first played through the game there weren't any armored enemies at all, but when I played through on crushing there were dudes with miniguns and other armored enemies, which made it a lot harder. Oh, don't get me started, there were also these dudes that they were like they just ran at you pretty much. They were like melee dudes. They'd pretty much just beeline straight for you and just try and melee you, which was really annoying when you're behind cover trying to shoot at other enemies, and these dudes would legit just come sprinting out of nowhere to just try and get you. Also, stealth is a lot harder as well, as the enemies don't have the indicators above their heads, so you don't know when you've actually been spotted. It still does play the sound effect, so you know when you've been spotted, but you can't tell which enemy has spotted you, and they spot you a lot quicker too. Like if you out in the open, they pretty much spot you instantly, so stealth is a lot harder on crushing as well, so you'd think you'd be able to just stealth your way through and make it, you know, that would make it a lot easier. But unfortunately, stealth is still actually pretty hard on crushing, so you can't just rely on stealth. And that's how they actually increase the difficulty, by varying up the enemies. And just, yeah, you have to make sure that you're behind cover or else you will get lasered, but not as quickly as the original trilogy. So overall, crushing wasn't too bad on this game. There were a few frustrating parts though, for sure. I would definitely recommend, I don't know why I didn't, but I should have been using the gameplay modifiers. Like, I probably should have had infinite ammo and bullet time mode on, which makes it so that you slow down time when you're aiming in, which would have made my playthrough a lot easier, but for some reason I decided to do it legit with no gameplay modifiers, which would have made it a lot easier, but I did it legit. Also, along with gameplay modifiers, there's the weapons. You can actually give yourself the actual weapons from the weapon menu. So I could have given myself like the Deagle, which one-shots enemies, and it would have made it a lot easier as well with infinite ammo. That would have probably been the easiest way to do it for sure, because that's pretty much one shot, one kill from the older games, but you know, you're just doing choosing a weapon and then using the infinite ammo. So weapons as well would have been nice to have. And also, if you want to, you can actually play through the game on your first playthrough on crushing. I thought you had to beat the game to unlock crushing, but when I played Lost Legacy, I actually looked at it and you can do crushing straight away if you want. They don't recommend it, but you can do crushing straight away. So really, instead of 3 playthroughs, you could do 2 playthroughs if you wanted, where one is the crushing playthrough and then you do the speed run and then obviously get all the miscellaneous. But obviously while doing crushing you would have to get all the treasures. but instead I did it the long way, did 3 playthroughs, and I don't really mind because I was able to enjoy the story and get used to the gameplay, as it is fairly different to the original game, and also you do unlock gameplay modifiers because of all the treasures you found in that original playthrough. So if you do want to make it a lot easier on yourself, you can do that. So it's up to you. You can either do 2 playthroughs or 3 playthroughs, where you either do crushing first or last. Alright, just quickly, we're gonna flash back. So you may have, if some of you know the trophy list, you may have noticed that I actually missed a trophy, and this one's Peaceful Resolution, where you pretty much can't be seen or kill any enemies from Chapter 13 Marooned up until Chapter 15 Thieves of Libertalia, I believe, where you go into the treasury with Sam. And this one, where if you remember earlier in the video when I died to that random boulder when I was trying to climb it and I'd randomly just die, then I was actually trying to do that whilst doing the miscellaneous trophies, as it is another miscellaneous trophy, and I did it twice. The first time I got spotted, but I thought it was just you had to not kill any enemies, so I thought I was going to get it, and I didn't get it. So then I realized that you actually have to, I looked at the guide again, realized you have to do it without actually being spotted as well. So then I went back and did it a second time, and I thought I did it without being spotted, but it didn't count again, which I think maybe I might have got spotted right at the very end, unfortunately, so that kind of sucked. So I decided that I would either do it in my speedrun or my crushing playthrough. Speedrun, I stuffed it up, but unfortunately on the speedrun you can't restart checkpoint, because it doesn't actually reset your timer like in the original trilogy, so I didn't really have time to go back and do it. So instead, I tried to do it in the brutal playthrough, but that was pretty much impossible because, like I said earlier, the stealth is absolutely terrible on brutal, so I had absolutely no chance of doing that. So once I got through that area on brutal, I just decided to go back on the easiest difficulty and try it again, follow a guide on best path to get through without being spotted, and luckily I was able to do it after lots of attempts. And yeah, here it is, Peaceful Resolution. After being marooned, leave everyone alive until the treasury. So yeah, bear in mind, I didn't actually do it on the brutal playthrough. I went back and did it on the easiest difficulty, and got it right this time. Okay, I'm sure as you've noticed, I've been playing a bit of a death montage in the background of all my deaths on crushing, and you probably can notice that we're nearing the end here, and there were a few hard spots throughout, like that elevator part, which I got stuck on for quite a bit, and then that earlier bit I just showed in this underground cavern area. It was very small, tight space, which reminded me of the original game, so that was kind of hard. And then now we're up to these exploding mummies, which aren't even enemies, but I found really difficult. I died so many times here, it was absolutely ridiculous. And then straight after that, we move into pretty much the final combat encounters of the game in this ship graveyard. And here are the dudes I'm talking about that just sprint at you and they hold you up and melee you. Those guys were the bane of my existence. Like, seriously, they were so annoying. And then now we've got a minigun dude. Like, this end bit was really difficult. It was definitely the final part of the game where you had to test all your skills that you'd earned throughout the game. It was very difficult, this last bit, that's for sure. It took me lots of attempts. But then after this, it's pretty much just the Wraith combat encounter. So as soon as you get through this, you're pretty much done. But this was very hard, this area.
Great success! good or something.
One eternity later.
Whew, finally after that we get to the final boss fight with Rafe, where I may or may not have died a couple of times.
Maybe next time. I guess you couldn't talk your way out of this. Adios, amigo. Say hi to Avery.
A few moments later.
And with that, I finally beat crushing difficulty on this game. Here's my stats if you want to have a quick look at them. Took me almost 9 hours to beat the game. Had to restart a few times, 283 times. My accuracy wasn't the greatest, but got through it in the end. And so with that, we get our stacked trophy, which is Charted Hard. Complete the game in hard mode, which of course we stacked with Charted Crushing. Complete the game in crushing mode, aka the hardest difficulty. There you go. Now we've only got 2 more trophies left, which one of them is the Platinum and the other one is to do with Lost Legacy. Alright, so just quickly I'm going to show you these trophies, which don't ruin the moment. Collect all the trophies in Uncharted Lost Legacy, and of course we get the Platinum, a Thieves Legacy. So I'll just show you these 2 ones quickly, just to show that I did get the Platinum, but I will be making a separate video on Lost Legacy, so stay tuned for that one. There you have it, all trophies for Uncharted 4: A Thief's End. Well, the PS5 version in the Legacy of Thieves collection anyway. Now in terms of just playing the game, I'd have to give it a 10 out of 10. This is easily my favourite Uncharted game in the series so far. The story is fantastic, with so many great and emotional moments, and some insane but awesome set pieces. The characters are top tier as usual, especially with the returning characters, but the new characters are just as good, especially Sam Drake. Troy Baker does a fantastic job at bringing this character to life. Along with this, the characters' dialogue has got to be some of the best dialogue out of any game I've ever played. The characters have such great banter, and the dialogue fits perfectly with their personalities. The gameplay is similar to other Uncharted games, but rope swinging is really fun, and everything else has been modernized and improved, so that means the gameplay is also the best in the franchise too. Graphics are fantastic for a 2016 game, and it is crazy how good it looks compared to even Uncharted 3, which was only made 5 years before that. Definitely play this game, it's worth your time. Really makes me wish they would make more Uncharted games, but they did do a great send-off for the character of Nathan Drake. Now, in terms of the Platinum, I would give it a 9.5 out of 10. There are much more interesting trophies in this game than there are in the original trilogy, with more miscellaneous trophies rather than focusing on combat trophies. Also, crushing actually feels fair in this game, unlike the other games, and is a genuine challenge, but at the same time doesn't feel impossible. The only thing holding back this game from being a 10 out of 10 Platinum is that you have to play through the game at minimum twice, or like I did 3 times if you want to make it as easy as possible. You then also have to do cleanup via chapter and encounter select, which is kind of like half a playthrough as well. Also, there were some trophies that you had to grind for, like vertical and ledge takedowns, which you could do theoretically whilst playing throughout the game, but if you're like me, you didn't really have a chance to do them all the time, so you have to go back and grind for it. Along with this, some trophies didn't pop. I'm talking about the Peaceful Resolution trophy. It took me 3 attempts before it would pop. Now, I stuffed up my first run through because, I don't know, the description of the trophy is wrong. It just says keep everyone alive, but you also can't get spotted. So it's a bit weird, that trophy. But yeah, also, you do have to get the 100% for Lost Legacy just to get the Platinum. Which brings me to the 100% rating, which I would also give a 9.5 out of 10, as you need it for the Platinum. Lost Legacy's trophies are fairly similar to Uncharted 4 as well, so it isn't drastically different, but it is a whole new fun game with more content, so definitely not a chore at all. But I will go into more detail about those trophies next video. But there you have it. I have gotten the platinum for the main 4 Uncharted games featuring Nathan Drake. I would definitely stick number 4 at my number 1 Uncharted game. The best one by far. I'll put number 2, keep that. Uncharted 2 at number 2. And then Uncharted 3, I'll stick that at number 3 as well. And then Uncharted 1, unfortunately, will be number 4. But all these games are fantastic, so I definitely recommend anyone play through this franchise. Anyway, thanks so much for watching. Remember to hit that like and subscribe for more content like this, and join me on my platinum journey as I continue to show every platinum trophy I get. Gonna be aiming to get at least 20 before the end of the year. Well, I'll probably get that fairly easy though, so maybe 30, but you gotta keep smashing that like button for me to do it. Before you go, also, I'm going to make a poll on my community tab as I want to hear your guys' opinions, or you can leave a comment on this video as well. What I want to know is, what do you think of me doing a let's play for certain games where I play through the whole game whilst going for the platinum and 100% to show exactly how I get each trophy and you guys can experience it with me? Let me know, as I might do that for the next game I platinum. Anyway, thanks again, and I'll see you all in the next video, Uncharted: The Lost Legacy. Peace out.
What are you looking at? What? What are you looking at?
Roadkill.